All right, so this is the astrological update for November 17th through the 24th, 2024. So this week, it's an interesting week as far as moon goes. We actually don't have a phase of the moon until Saturday. So, but I'm going to walk you through the rest of the week and kind of what's going on leading up to it because there's some interesting stuff happening. So on Sunday, the sun has what's called an opposition to Uranus. So in the night sky, they are exactly 180 degrees opposite each other. The sun is in Scorpio. It's Scorpio season. If you're a Scorpio, you either just had your birthday or you're going to have your birthday. And then the sign opposite Scorpio is Taurus. And so they're opposite up there in the sky. Now, when this happens, and it happens really just once a year, the sun makes its way around the whole zodiac once a year. Uranus moves really slow. So yeah, it really only happens once a year. But when it happens, the sun represents, our identity. It represents really being in the spotlight. It represents leaders. And then Uranus represents just sort of like sudden breakthroughs, sudden flashes of something. It also represents technology. And so when we have this opposition, and opposition is really a push and a pull, like, I want this, but I want that, but I want this, but I want that. So when you have these energies coming together, it can really manifest as, like, say, a moment of brilliance. We can see a new discovery or a breakthrough. Someone could have, say, a breakout performance. It could be a sudden shock that, just really hits you in the heart. It could be an impulse to disrupt, interrupt, break the limits. Again, your Uranus kind of represents those limits, and that's where it has this technological thing like overlaid with it because, we've seen so many advances with technology, and technology is constantly breaking limits, right? New technologies. So that's the 17th, and that energy will be active for a few days. Again, the sun only spends about a day in every degree, so it doesn't, these sun transits, they come and they last. They really have about like a 3 to 5 day kind of peak period. So that is Sunday. Then we move into Monday and Tuesday, and the moon is conjuncting Jupiter, meaning it's meeting up with Jupiter, and they're meeting up in Gemini, and they are opposing Mercury. So you're like, what does all this mean? So Mercury, or the moon, is our emotions. Jupiter is kind of like the Santa Claus of the zodiac. It bestows just blessings and luck, and so they're meeting up. So it's kind of like your emotions are getting like a lot of support and a lot of just love. Now they're in Gemini, and Gemini is it's well, first of all, it's ruled by Mercury, which is opposing them, and I'll get to that in a minute. But Gemini is very busy. Gemini is the sign of the twins, and it is the youngest, so to speak, of the air signs. So if you think about little kids, and if they have friends, and then that just busyness with their friends or their siblings, that's Gemini. And so the moon with Jupiter there, getting that sort of like supportive communication, it's very charming. So it's kind of like you're able to convey your emotions in sort of a fun and charming way. Now, Mercury opposing it is interesting because it's like it's the planet of communication that's in opposition. You're like, oh, again, this is push pull, push pull. The thing is, Mercury is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is super duper fun, but it kind of doesn't make a point. It's just very adventurous. And so the way that you could see this play out is perhaps you or someone making a really well articulated and factual point that comes across as very charming as well. And then here walks in someone who just sort of like disrupts the whole thing with something fun and exciting, So I would just kind of be on the lookout for that and watch out for that. And if you have something that's really important to you that you have researched and it means a lot to you, kind of be on the lookout for those situations. Try to avoid them. And if something does happen, just think, oh, well, there's that darn Mercury in Sagittarius, So that's how I'd play that one out. Now, also on Monday, the sun is coming in to trine Neptune. So these are both water. They're in water signs. Again, the sun is still in Scorpio. Neptune is in Pisces. And this is really dreamy. You might feel called to just take a breather and pause and appreciate something around you. It'll definitely be easier to kind of lean into that. And this peaks again on Monday. And again, the last couple days, similar to that earlier aspect of the sun opposing Uranus. So the sun opposition and the sun trine Neptune are there. There's a bit of overlap there. And that this sun trine Neptune, that happens a couple times a year because the trine is actually a triangular aspect. I will not get into that too much, but yes. Then we have something really exciting. And if you follow astrology, you've definitely heard about this. Pluto moving into Aquarius. And so Pluto is the planet, as I'm sure most people know from elementary school, learning about the solar system. It's way out there. It's the farthest planet out there. It takes 248 years to go around the sun and the zodiac. And so what's been going on is since it's been at least a year and a half now, Pluto has been moving into Aquarius. And what happens is it moves in, but then it retrogrades back into Capricorn, where it has been since 2008. And now it is moving into Aquarius again, coming out of its retrograde, and it's never going back into Capricorn in our lifetimes. It's going to stay in Aquarius now for the next, I'm not sure exactly how long, but it'll be a while. It'll be at least 10 to 20 years because it's been in Capricorn since 2008. Now, Pluto, what it does, it kind of looks into the shadows and cleans up what needs cleaning up. That's why we have seen in the years since 2008, so much, because it's been in Capricorn, and Capricorn represents structure and authority. And so as Pluto was making its way through Capricorn since 2008, if something that dealt with structures, laws, and like the structure of a country or the structure of an industry, it will go deep into the shadows and sort of like destroy it and it'll destroy it so that it can be rebuilt in a better way. And so you think back to 2008 and we had the housing crisis in the United States. And as of late in the United States, we've also seen quite a lot of destruction of our political and social structures. And so it's been painful, but it really is all a means to an end. And that's what the astrology is really teaching us. And of course, we had COVID in there. It's pretty amazing if you really look at the astrology and seek to draw some meaning as far as what's going on in your life. I know for many people, myself included, astrology has helped me get through a lot of kind of questionable times. But it's moving into Aquarius, and Aquarius, so again, Capricorn represents structure, top-down authority, and it's rules. Capricorn's also ruled by Saturn, and it can be very like heavy-handed and kind of my way or the highway. Now Aquarius, first of all, Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, which could be a little interesting if you're sitting there thinking it. But the modern ruler is Uranus, and so if, again, you think about that freedom, breaking through, that's really kind of where we're headed now. Saturn being the traditional ruler of Aquarius, it's not without order, which I think is also a good thing. But really in the Pluto in Aquarius time, and if you think about our world right now, we are really poised for this. It's signaling a lot of advancements in technology. It's signaling a greater concern for the collective and freedom. And so these are going to be some exciting times. So we shall see what happens. Then as we move in towards Wednesday and the end of the week, we have a really lovely aspect here between Saturn and Venus. They are about 45 degrees apart, which is called a sextile. And it is a harmonious aspect. And now Saturn is the planet, again, of structure, law, authority, rules. Saturn really is the planet that says, if you do the work, you'll be rewarded, And so Venus then is the planet of pleasure, love, and what we find pleasure in, what we take pleasure in. Venus loves to just sort of be like a Oh, it just loves anything to do with pleasure. It likes bubble baths and flowers and cozy blankets, right? So, this harmonious aspect points to structure and authority getting along really well with pleasure and pleasantness. So, I was thinking about this. It could be a great day for business meetings, especially ones that could be historically kind of difficult, maybe because everyone will be supported to be more polite and respectful. And I can kind of see it as, especially if you're going to that meeting with, having done your Saturn work, your facts are buttoned up, everything's good to go. And then, you're able to present it in a way where hopefully the other side will at least be very pleasant in how they receive it. And so, again, pleasantness working really well with, having done your homework and having the facts together, So now Venus is in Capricorn, which Saturn rules Capricorn. So again, that's another very supportive aspect of this. And Saturn is in Pisces, which this Saturn in Pisces time is so interesting. Because it doesn't, to me, seem like a great placement for Saturn. But what that involves really is Saturn doing the work of, because Pisces is a water sign, but really dissolving away the things that don't work, as well as dreaming up, because Pisces is very dreamy, logical solutions, which is Saturn, dreaming up logical solutions that will work and replace them. So the work of Saturn in Pisces is actually really interesting and really cool. Yeah. So now November 22nd and on into the 23rd. So on the 22nd, and this is at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, it would be just after midnight UK time. Here's the big ta-da for Moon Chat. We have the last quarter moon, which is in Virgo. And Virgo it's a busy sign. It's also ruled by Gemini. And I just love Virgo. I feel like Virgo is so endearing. Virgo is that sign that it loves to make lists and check things off. And sometimes they'll put things on the list that they've already done just so they can check them off. And they like to be organized. It really likes cleanliness. And Virgo is the natural ruler of our 6th house, which is the house of habits and daily routines. So as we look at this last quarter, what we want to do is look at when it was seated, meaning when was the new moon at this place in the zodiac in Virgo. It's happening around that 1 to 4 degrees of Virgo. And we want to see what intentions we set, either consciously or unconsciously. And so the new moon occurred 27 months ago. That's the thing. These last quarters between all the phases, as you use Moon Chat, you will learn. And we talk about this in a video about the moon, how these moon phases in the moon families work in 9-month cycles. Isn't that fascinating? The same amount of time it takes for human babies' gestation cycle. But the new moon was August 27th, 2022. And then the first quarter occurred on May 27th, 2023. The full moon was this February 24th, 2024, and here we have the last quarter now on November 22nd, 23rd, 2024, depending on where you live. So what you want to do with this is look back to that new moon date and check your calendar, check your camera roll, check your sent and received emails, maybe social media posts. But was there something that you consciously or unconsciously put into motion? Maybe you do keep a journal and you write down intentions. Maybe you've got some records. Go check that out. Then go look at the first quarter. And again, same sort of a drill. But now you're looking to see, what did you take action on? Again, consciously or unconsciously. What did you push along? Did you book a trip? Did you accept a job? Did you end a relationship? Did you start a relationship? Did anything happen there of note? And then more recently, then on February 24th, 2024, that full moon, did something big sort of come into your realization? Did you have a new breakthrough? Did you have a celebration? Did something kind of notable and major happen? And it is in working with these that you can start to get a sense for what you are co-creating with the moon, And I'll say this again, if you are not a Moon Chat member yet and you want to know what area of life this is activating and supporting for you, go to my website, lauracusto.com, and enter your information. I'll send you all the details on how you can join Moon Chat, because that's what we do in Moon Chat. You get the information not just on these dates, but what area of life it's activating for you. So you can go and do some general research, but until you get to Moon Chat, you won't know exactly what area of your life is being supported. But that's what we want to be doing there. Now, if you're just starting out and those dates, it's too much to do, I would recommend really go back and look at the full moon or do a cursory glance. And maybe you can't find something on all 3 dates, but you can find something for one. Again, it's kind of like a little puzzle that you're putting together, And finally, what do you do on the last quarter? So gather some information, see what puzzle pieces you can put together for what's going on in your life. And then here's the thing. The last quarter is a time to clear the garden. Working with these moon phases is a lot like working with a garden. We plant seeds on the new moon. We water them by taking action on the first quarter. The full moon is when they come into bloom. And then finally on the last quarter, we do our part to go clear the garden. So the last quarter is a time to, look at what's going on and say, okay, here's what I'm going to harvest from this situation. I'm going to take these seeds and I'm going to hold them safe because I think I want to replant them. And then all this other stuff, I'm done with that. I'm going to go and I'm going to clear the garden. I'm going to take action. If you think about clearing a garden, what could you do there? You can shred old records. Let's say it's in your second house of finances, or what you're noticing is financial. Maybe it's time to just, go clean some stuff up and create some space. That's what the fourth quarter is about. Create some space so that when you get the next new moon in Virgo, you have got some fertile, clean ground to plant your seeds in, right? You don't want to be planting over some old weeds. So that's what it's all about. It can be a great time to, if you've been debating about leaving a job, and you've got the perfect offer sitting there, but you're just not sure if you should take it. Well, if the stars align and this last quarter comes along and you're feeling it, it is a good time to do that, especially if it is in your 10th house of career, which you'll know if you're a Moon Chat member. So that's how we use the last quarter energy. And again, that's the last quarter happening 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, November 22nd, and then about 6 hours later, a little after midnight on the 23rd UK time. So that is the update for November 17th to the 23rd. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can go to lauracusto.com, enter your information to subscribe, and you can also shoot me an email at support@lauracusto.com.